Troy. Can you lead us in prayer, please?
Sure.
All right, we'd like to call the meeting to order. Ask Mr. Shropshire to lead us in prayer and pledge.
Please bow. Oh, Heavenly Father, bless this meeting and make sure that everybody out here goes home safe and that we have a very eventful meeting here and takes a very good outcome with everything coming on. Amen. Attention, salute, pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Choya. We could go ahead and have a roll call.
Terry Lamar.
Here.
Choya Shropshire.
Here.
Dennis Nance. Travis Malure.
Here.
Randy Chitwood.
Here. Here.
Chris Gonthier.
Here.
Bruce Smith.
Here. Okay. We do have a few petitions from the audience tonight. We'll start with Miss Sally Martin. You can come up here to the microphone and we'll give you your 5 minutes. Yeah, if you need to bring your muzzle with you, he's welcome to come on up.
So, I need to tell you why I'm here.
Yeah, tell us what you got for us.
Well, first of all, I've lived at my present address for 62 years in Pryor, and no problems. I raised a couple of kids, no, not a problem one, but I'm having a little problem with the city street department. I had a garage that's taking in water. After that many years, you can expect the erosion, and I knew that there was water where water shouldn't be. And so I called the street department, and we've talked this back and forth. Let me back up for just a moment and tell you that my husband was Don Martin. He worked for the city for a while, long time, what, 17 years. And so he knew all of the guys. And so we got him up there, and they thought it would be a good idea to put a tin whistle in to redirect the flow that was coming up. It was definitely all coming off the street. And so we did that, and it didn't help. And so the gentleman that's in charge of the street department who put the tin whistle in said that he thought we'd probably need another one end to end. And but that they couldn't pay for the second one, I would have to pay for it. And I don't necessarily think a tin whistle would do any good.
She's got a picture here if y'all need to see anything like that. It's real plain to see.
Okay.
Yeah, so like I said, and with the erosion and the fact that there's no control over the amount of water. I mean, it's not like something you can turn off and on. So anyway, my problem is I just, there was nowhere to park. Along those little streets are narrow, and this, most people just cut out some of their yard and park. And so that's what we had done. Well, when he come in and took the backhoe and removed a lot of dirt and chat and asphalt and all of that, he took a goodly part of our yard. So I just want it back. It doesn't have to be like it was. I just want it back. I want somewhere to park a second car if I have to. And I don't have now. Even the little mail girl has to walk down the street and turn and come back up, you know, to take care of the mail. So, so that's it.
Sally, what is your address?
What's that?
What is your address? What street?
904 Southeast 2nd Street, Pryor.
And you've been talking with Mr. Malure, so,
And Nance.
and Mr. Nance, so,
Okay, I can.
yeah, you're good, thank you.
Good,
Thank you.
Don't, yeah, the phone.
All right.
Yeah, you don't want this.
Thank you, Sally. Next, we have a petition from the audience from Nina Roberts.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Speak into the microphone.
Good evening.
Just so you know, we usually get at least 2 messages a meeting. Tell them to speak into the microphone from Nina.
That's
So
true. That's very true.
fair play. All right, it's all
So
yours.
please remember that. So I'm going to read the email that I sent you. I assume everybody got their email?
I did.
Okay. Dear Councilman, as you're aware, I do have a loved one who is a homeless addict. And because of this, earlier in the summer, I went through Narcan training, which the instructor is here in the audience. So if you have any questions for her. And now I have it in our home and our car to use on anyone. We see tweakers, meth addicts, walking up and down our street in the night and wee hours of the morning. If one would end up overdosing in our yard, I wouldn't hesitate to use it because that person is someone's child and their life is just as valuable as yours and mine in God's eyes. I went through the free training available at the health fair at the fairgrounds. At this event, I saw Carrie at her library booth and was talking with her about the training when she informed me that she had already been looking into having a vending machine at no cost to the city. I was thrilled. That day, I emailed the mayor in support of this and also encouraged him to have Narcan available in all city government public facilities and to get all employees trained in using it. When I worked for the city, I saw more than one tweaker come to the city clerk's office for court. I also recommend vending machines in our city parks. Not long ago, I spoke with a park employee that told me every morning they run off the homeless and addicts until they come back to stay at night. Shouldn't those employees and the public have access to life-saving Narcan just in case it's needed for those around them until help arrives? I personally know a former meth addict that was Narcan 12 times and is now a productive citizen of society. Ask his mother if Narcan is important. Ask his wife if Narcan is important. Ask his children if Narcan is important. In the training I learned the probability of an addict using a vending machine for Narcan is low. It's those around them that uses Narcan on the person overdosing. I've also heard stories about how Narcan saved the lives of those who are not addicts, especially children, which was a real eye-opener for me. For example, a toddler got into his grandma's pain meds and was overdosing, but was saved by the older sister who Narcaned him before medical help arrived. Grandma had the sense to have Narcan available for herself in case she ever forgot how many pills she took, and by chance took too many. She showed her children and grandchildren how to use Narcan. Had she not done this, the toddler might not be alive today. And if you think pain medication overuse, intentionally or accidentally, is not a real problem in our community, think again. In fact, it's probably more prevalent because it's not as noticeable as illegal drug abuse. I've heard a local argument that Narcan is just another drug to treat a drug abuser. This implies that the drug abuser's life is not as valuable as the person's life that does not use illegal or prescribed opioids. I disagree. First, Narcan is not a narcotic like opioids or illegal drugs. It is an antagonist that blocks the effects of the opioid illegal drug. This is no different than using a nitro pill on a person in cardiac distress or using an EpiPen on a person in anaphylactic shock. Now to address the location of the vending machine. Why not the library? I'm sure Carrie will tell you why it should be placed at the library, as it is at countless public libraries across the country. I've been told that children should not have access to it at the library because it will promote drug use. I respectfully disagree with this opinion. Kids have always used drugs and alcohol if they choose to, with or without the access of Narcan. That's a reality. It's no different than condom vending machines in public restrooms. Does that promote sex for children who use those bathrooms? I think not. As for the fentanyl testing strips in the vending machines, that's where I've just recently done research, and in my opinion, that is like a safe needle program. And these programs are not life-saving like Narcan is. Needle dispensaries are enabling addicts to continue using, whereas Narcan saves lives and for the addict gives them an opportunity to make the right decision to seek help. Like my previous example of the addict that was Narcan 12 times. However, after my own recent research, I believe fentanyl strips testing strips fall into the category of harm reduction like the safe needle programs and would be a form of enabling the addict to continue using. Unless I hear tonight arguments and life-saving stories from experts or those with personal experience, I am not in favor of fentanyl testing strips, but am in favor of a Narcan vending machine only. I encourage you not to just take my word for it. Research, ask experts in the drug abuse prevention field, and ask Chief Cantrell questions. Gentlemen, the illegal drug and opioid epidemic today is much different than when many of us were younger decades ago. We must keep up with current social issues and be proactive to address current issues and not base our decisions on the past. I also brought my Narcan, if y'all want to look at it, and I want to point out too, I saw this where someone said that it has to be in a controlled environment. On my box, it says that it can even be frozen, and it can withstand up to 104 degrees heat. So, but don't open the box, please, because you can't use it if you open the box. But gentlemen, I thank you again for hearing me out.
Thank you.
So do y'all want to look at this or no?
Anybody need to see the box of Narcan?
No?
Bruce, I noticed she looked at you when she said older generation.
Seen them.
I'm
That's
talking about
not
this
the first
boat.
time she's mentioned that.
Mr. Mayor, I know it's not customary, but can I ask her to elaborate on something she said?
I've got other petitions, so if we can move on, and then we'll use that in our discussion then.
Okay, thank you.
And lastly, Mr. Britton.
Good morning, or good morning. I've been at Rocklahoma every morning since 3 o'clock in the morning, so yes, it's probably a good morning for me. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, so thank you for allowing me to speak. I'm gonna tell you a story real quick, if I can get through it without being emotional. In June of this year, I received a call from my sister of my 25-year-old niece, who was sitting in her bedroom beside the bed with her 3-month-old baby on the bed, foaming at the mouth. They called the sheriff's department, which this is in Pittsburgh County, a little town called Quinton, which is east of McAllister, which is where I'm from. They had recently done away with the police department in town, so they were counting on the sheriff to be able to come make call. Well, Pittsburgh County is the largest county in the 77, and one of the largest, maybe Osage is. But it took them a long time to get there. It was too late when they got there because what they were bringing was Narcan. There was none to be found. And my 25-year-old niece passed away on an overdose of fentanyl. Well, when they did the research, they actually found that it was a pain pill that was laced with fentanyl. Now, I know the debate tonight, I think you are all smart individuals, and I think you all understand that we have a need for this program. I think the debate tonight may be where it's going to be located. But this will be the first one in Mays County if you decide to do so tonight. And I think you'll hear from the representatives that this is a program that's been utilized across the state at public libraries because it is a public place and a friendly place. What I will tell you, though, is that if she would have had that night, she probably would have survived. Now, the fentanyl test strips, this is what they're used for. If you have a drug addict and they have a fentanyl test strip, they can test the product that they're taking, and it will tell them if it has fentanyl on it. That is what that is for. So if you have a drug addict, the overlying problem is we have a problem across the United States, and it's fentanyl. Until we solve that, we have to provide life-saving measures for the individuals within the communities and counties and cities to be able to take care of themselves and at least have another day to fight. And if they have this product available, or even if the families have this product available, have the ability to go down and get this out of a vending machine that's free to be able to use a home on someone they may know, it's a value to have that. And the fentanyl strips, if they find something in someone's room, they can test those to see if they have fentanyl on them. Or even more, if my niece would have had one that night, she could have tested what she was taking before she put it in her mouth. So I would encourage you, if tonight you debate on where the location is, that's one thing. But eventually, we have to have one in this city and in this county because we all know that we have a major problem here. So thank you.
Thank you. All right. All good points. Item 3, department head reports. Start with B, B, emergency management. Johnny?
We're still working through the FEMA process to get reimbursed for the Father's Day storms. That usually takes 6 to 8 months. Lots of other stuff it entails other than just with FEMA, DEQ, and all the other federal agencies. You got to go through EHS to ever get any money from FEMA. But we've done it probably a dozen times, so it just takes 6 to 8 months to get through all of it. We've got another meeting in September the 18th, I believe, to start actually turning in our expenses. Also, we got chosen for the EMPG grant again this year. This is the 14th year, I think, in a row that we've got that. Not every city gets it. It's based on how active your program is, and we've got it for 14 years in a row.
Thank you.
That's all I got.
Thank you for staying active 14 years. Appreciate it. All right. Chief Young, BK, Fire.
Well, we made it through Oklahoma, so we only got a couple more things, as you can see. The fair's getting ready to kick off, so if we got kiddos showing animals and all that stuff, they're getting all that set up, which is a cool event, but it's also that plus Dam Jam and everything else, and then Born and Raised next year, so boys know what to do, they're preparing for it, and I don't have to stand over them. They know it's coming, it's every year, so they're doing a great job. Y'all have anything for me?
All right. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
D, golf, Mr. Bowman.
Good evening, everyone. The golf course has been really busy. July and August, we've been doing really good and getting a lot of great compliments. It's in great shape. But we still need some help. You know, we have some of our seniors volunteering to weed eat. We just don't have the manpower to do everything. So weed eating's kind of the last thing on the list. And, you know, we have people coming out to volunteer to weed eat, but, you know, it's only 2 and 3 hours at a time. And so we have a lot of things that we're kind of having to let go. And when we start out in good shape, you can let them go for a while, but sooner or later it's going to catch up with us. And we got a lot of big events coming up this fall. We got the United Way tournament that we host every year. We got U.S. kids coming in from 3 different states. So I've talked to other people about seeing if we could contract some of that stuff out. It gets very, very expensive to have people come out and mow the golf course or weed eat, you know, because they got to have their insurance and everything. So we have the equipment. We just need a few more temp people, and we can get the job done, or anybody wants to come out. So we just need some help, and because it can't just keep going on and on. Right now, it's you know, very dry. We're irrigating a lot, so it takes a lot of time when you have bent grass screens. You know, we spend at least 8 to 10 hours a day just taking care of the greens. And, you know, I don't count all the mowing, greens, tees, roughs, fairways, spraying the chemicals that we have to do. So we need to change something in the next couple of weeks or get somebody out there that we can contract. So we just finished our Freedom Flight tournament. I think that was a good, successful tournament. Always enjoy helping the veterans, and it was a good, successful event. And but like I said, we got a lot of events coming up. September and October are very busy with different tournaments. We got people coming up this weekend from Fort Gibson and Muskogee area, so we got 60 of those people coming up. So we're drawing a lot of people from around the area. We just want to keep our name out there that we're in a good golf course. We're in good condition. So if any of y'all have any ideas on what we can do, please give me a call. I'd love to hear from you. We also got our brush piles to get burnt. So during the storm, we piled up all the brush in different piles, but we have a burn permit for one certain area. So I got to get all that brush to the one pile so we can burn it. We're going to need some help because we don't have the resources to even move it. So our permit will expire October 14th. So we got to get it all piled up and burned and transported. So that's a big job that we have to do. But like I said, golf course is doing really well, so we just want to keep it there. We don't want to get it going the other way where people aren't coming out because it's not in good condition. So, anybody have any questions for me?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, E, library, Mrs. Rarick.
I forgot to pass out my handwritten sheet, so if you would take one and pass it down. And while you get those, I will tell you, story time has resumed. We'll have our first story time in our fall programming session tomorrow at 10:30, and then we'll have a story time every Wednesday at 10:30 until the end of November. We take a break in December, and we'll start again in January. We also have teen night coming up next Thursday at 5:30. I forgot to ask what they're doing, but it will be fun. So, yeah. As far as the statistics go on your sheet, we're still rocking and rolling. And remember, I put in the last year column that those numbers are from when we were in the Graham building. So they look super impressive this year, but there were some mitigating circumstances, but they're still impressive. And then because we don't do programming in August, I put how many times our meeting rooms have been used, 358 times. Just so you get a perspective of that, 343 times is how many times our study rooms have been used. The rest have been either the makerspace or our big meeting rooms. So those study rooms turn over real quick, and they are almost always full. And you love to see it. So, you guys have any questions about this stuff for me?
Would you say that the physical checkouts are down because school started back up?
Yeah.
It's not
we
a
always
drastic,
have-
but it's about 500.
We'll always have lots and lots of checkout over the summer
Right.
because we do the summer reading program and people want all their stuff. But school's in session. August tends to slow down, and then we really will see a progressive slowing down until we get to December. December is usually our slowest month, and then after the first of the year, we pick back up. But we peak in June and July as far as physical checkouts. Digital checkouts, we stay the same pretty much all year round.
Thank you.
Quick question. How long does story time normally last?
It depends. The actual story time is probably 30 minutes. They do an opening song, they read a book, they do either finger plays or another song. And then there's usually a craft or an activity afterwards, so families can choose to stay for that or not. And then that just sort of lasts however long you want it to last. But yeah, 30 minutes to an hour-ish. There's not a lot of attention span longer than that. So.
It's not with adults either.
All right.
All right, thanks.
Thank you, Carrie. F, Parks and Cemetery, Mr. Frank.
How are y'all?
Doing fine.
Seems like August and September is always, the parks are usually busy. So I don't know if it's back to school parties, plant picnics, stuff like that. most of that's on the weekends, but, you know, it's been pretty busy. Other than that, with the heat, we've just been mowing, keeping everything, there's always fix a swing, I mean, there's always something to do, but other than that, not a whole lot going on. We got several things lining up. We got some major tree trimming to do, but that's gonna probably be the next month or so, but, I was on vacation and just got back, so I don't know any numbers on the cemetery. I think it's actually been kind of slow. I know last time I was here, it was pretty busy, but, so, other than that, don't really have much.
All right, well, thank you. G, Police and Animal Shelter, Chief Cantrell.
So on the stats page for the last 3 weeks, you can see that traffic stops are 594. Some of that's, a lot of it was Rocklahoma. It was pretty uneventful during Rocklahoma for us, for the most part. They said a lot of it was attributed to all the Uber drivers and stuff that were around town. I guess there was a lot of that push this year, and they said very few were coming into house road drunks and that kind of stuff. A lot of traffic, but pretty uneventful here. And I was talking to Houston. He said even out there was pretty mild. So all in all, it was pretty smooth through Rocklahoma. Citations 93, arrests were 15. A couple notables, that the taser training, everyone went through taser training, and those new tasers are out and in use. We've started BLS training, which is basic life-saving training. One of our officers approached me. He's certified in it, can teach it, so I thought it was important for our officers to have it. And one of our officers this weekend, there was a choky baby call that came in. They were there within 40 seconds of the call. The baby was breathing but was struggling. One of the officers hit it on the back, and the other one, you know, opened its mouth and could see an obstruction in the airway. Used a finger sweep, pulled the obstruction out. You know, and the baby went, you know, started breathing normally and was fine after that point. The kid actually is a kid of a GRDA dispatcher, so I worked with him for 6 years. He called me and was praising the officers, and so that training is very important, and it's important for me to have the guys stepping up, wanting to do these kind of trainings. Ball games that are coming up. We saw the events that unfolded the last couple of weeks with the gun, you know, at the school in Locust and the shooting in Choctaw. We met with the school today to kind of go over some protocol that's in place for that. There's going to be obviously the reserves are coming out. We're going to have the SROs are going to be out, and then the bike patrol will be out. So there'll be a lot of patrols in place and protocol put in place by the school that they sent out and work in conjunction with the city. Several things that are coming up. September 12th at the police department, we're doing Meet the Chief, kind of the thing I want to do every quarter. Just kind of have the community come in, kind of tell them where we're at with the police department, kind of where we're headed, the goals that we see, take some feedback from them on what they want to see. Also, we're going to do how to spot scams that day. So Officer Scott has a program where, you know, I think it's geared towards the elderly or older generation where they get scammed, and we can kind of show them what to look for, and, you know, don't be afraid to call us and ask our opinion of it. October 2nd, he's starting a Citizens Police Academy. And these things I've been seeing out on Facebook, but we'll push more. I think it's good to get, you know, if you guys want to get involved in it, kind of see some of the things on the inside, what we're doing, and you know, got more in depth on some of the things that we're doing inside the police department. I think it's a very good opportunity for you to do that. It's going to be a couple days a week. It'll go from October till the end of November. And all this stuff's free of charge. And then October 12th, we're going to offer a free CPR first aid class for new parents or grandparents in reference to like infants, what to do if a kid's choking and things like that. I was talking to the school today. There's a piece of equipment that you can get fairly cheap. We're going to order some for the officers, and it basically will suck any kind of obstruction out of the kid's mouth. They don't have them in the schools, and I talked to the superintendent today. She's taking it with the nurses because the nurse said, hey, we need them here too. So those things that we're kind of looking for as far as in the future. And in your packet, you'll see a letter written from one of the sergeants in reference to that incident, kind of praising those officers. Obviously, the news has come down the last couple of days. We've talked to a couple of them. And, you know, they did a really good job and were trained in how to do that. So there's also a list on there that says 38 total. That's code enforcement. Code enforcement officer, you know, he's been really busy this time of year, grass and things. It's a constant battle for him. I actually talked to Mr. Trammell this morning, and what we try to do, if you have a complaint, please email me. That way I can kind of email him in a email chain, and we kind of keep us all in the loop, you know, because there's things that, you know, I can see too. Unfortunately, there's a process he has to go through, which is kind of frustrating for him and for me as well, because I see these properties and it's
pretty bad on some of them. So he's working. I think he's got 38 total in the last 3 weeks that he's been working on.
Hey, Jeremy, can I interrupt for a second?
Yeah.
Any code complaints should come through the city, and then we can forward them to you. That way we process
Correct.
them properly.
And so, maybe include us all in the email chain, and then we can all be on the same loop with it.
So can we email you, who do we email here in the city?
Yeah, you can send it to me, and then I can forward it to my staff. Or any citizens can call the office at any time during business hours, of course, to make any complaints.
Okay.
So as far as the police and code enforcement, you guys have any questions on that? The shelter report, they had 63 total, and they had outgoing 72. The total from August 1st was 114 animals. August 31st was 104 animals in the shelter. The shelter, we're battling the air conditioner. We did take an air conditioner from the old police department, put up there to kind of a Band-Aid to get us through. It's still running 80 degrees. We've only got another week or so, I think, hopefully to get through the heat. And then, we can get it back down, maybe limp us through till next year. Like I said, it's kind of a Band-Aid until we get that unit to replace. It's gonna cost a little bit, but they're old, and there's some other issues that we need to address there. Any questions on that?
Yes, sir. What nights were you planning on doing the Citizens Academy?
I'd have to look back at my phone, but I can.
We're on a Monday, I believe.
Mondays.
I knew Monday was one of the days, but
Yeah.
There's 2 nights. I can't remember. I'd have to look back through. But I can get with you and let you know exactly what days those are gonna be.
And we can include those dates in the council minutes as well, so that everybody can see it.
that would be a good idea.
I'll look back through and get the exact dates. I can get here in a minute.
I can forward you the
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Mr. Moore, Rec Center.
All right, good evening, gentlemen. Lots of action at the rec center, as usual. Kind of going down the list, the HVAC system, it's holding its own right now, other than what we've already asked to go out and bids on. So next time around, I should have some bids once we go through our board and then forward to the council. So we'll be bringing that forward soon. Today, we got the new CO2 system installed to help with the pH on our pool. So we're projecting about a $400 a month savings with this bulk system. So they came and got that going, so we're happy to have that. If you've been to the rec center lately, the landscaping is starting to take shape. They've got a couple of the smaller beds, done some trimming and so forth, so that's starting to look good. Aquatics, we had 15 pool parties last month. 4 of them were private. The after-school program and Special Tiger started today, so we had lots of activity this afternoon. We have 50 kids signed up for swim lessons for this month. That's 300 lessons in the next 6 weeks. So we have 3 instructors, so they're going to be busy. We've also, along with Special Olympics, we've got two older kids that have aged out of the schools level stuff, so they are beginning to swim. They want to swim competitively, so we've got a time slot set up for them to come in the morning and begin their training. Our swim club starts up next week, and then Pryor High is starting a swim program, so they've got a half a dozen swimmers, so we're working on putting a schedule together. They will be starting in October, so we're excited to have that going. So the pool is we had a busy summer, but it continues, so that's a good thing. In the fitness side, kind of along the CPR lines, all of our instructors are certified now in CPR. They're also either recertifying or gaining certification in some of their other training areas that are related to their classes. We did lose an instructor last week, so hopefully at some point in time on the temp side of things, if the freeze is lifted, we'll be able to bring that back up to speed, because we'd like to add some more classes. And then our fitness class attendance in general was up slightly in both the land and the water. I think I mentioned last time we have 3 challenges starting this month. The 9/11 challenge, a memorial stair climb, begins on 9/11 through 9/15. 9/18 then National Fall Prevention Week, so there's some awareness being given and some instruction being given on techniques to prevent falling for some of our older clientele. Then the Fall Into Fitness Challenge on 9/23, it's a 5-week challenge, a check-in challenge for trying to motivate people to come in the most people, the person that checks in the most, that's what I'm trying to say, will win that. And we've got some door prize type prizes for all those events. We had 132 new members. Again, I mentioned the Special Olympics. We have the two that are swimming, but we had the meeting back last month, and they're trying to organize for more sports. So we'll see, there's weightlifting, basketball, other things that they're taking a look at. So we'll see what they come up with. If we can help facilitate that, we will. With the heat, week before last, we hosted youth football 2 different nights in the gym. So gave them a chance. Their league wouldn't allow them to play outside in the high heat index, so we were able to accommodate that. And then we've been contacted too about hosting club volleyball practice in our gym, so we'll look at doing that. And so, space is at a premium, which is a good thing. We're maximizing it, it seems to be, so we're excited about having all that activity. And then it's in your pack tonight in terms of payment, but our irrigation system, we got that up and running. That initial thing was to get it going, and there was a little additional cost to finish the job. But anyway, that's kind of where we're at.
All right.
Any questions?
Been
All right.
busy.
Yeah, been busy.
Thank you, sir.
That police academy is on Mondays from 6 to 9. And CPR will included that. They want the certification part, it's like $10, but they'll have to go through the CPR class as well.
Okay,
Thank you.
We'll still get that out to you, Mr. Gantier. All right, item J, clerk, do you have anything? Nothing from the clerk, okay. And our street department, Buddy is ill this evening, so he was not able to make it. All right, let's move on to item 4, the consent agenda. Are there any items that we need to remove before we get started on?
Yes, sir. A, B, L, R, N, T, and U.
Did you say N as in Nancy?
Ma'am?
N as in Nancy?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to pull S.
Okay,
M as in Mary.
M is in Mary. Any further? Okay, then I need a motion to approve items C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, O, P, Q, and V.
Make that motion.
Second.
A motion from Chitwood and a second from Gantier. Call for the vote.
Lamar?
Yes.
Shropshire?
Yes.
Malure?
Yes.
Chitwood?
Yes.
Trammell?
Yes.
Gantier?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Okay. All right, item A, approve minutes from the August 15th, 2023 council meeting. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion from Chitwood, a motion from Choi, a second from Chitwood.
I think we had one of our councilmen not present, that's why I pulled it. But I don't, this one wasn't the one where two missed, one missed this one.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I've got a question about this on page 2 of the minutes.
Okay.
Down towards the middle, it's 3O.
Okay.
That's,
Approve the purchase of a fire engine.
that's the next one. That's the letter B one, I think. I'm not
No?
mistaken. Is it?
No, it's
All right, I'm
not.
wrong then, I apologize.
No, this is from the 15th. Yeah, what was your question there?
So, if I remember correctly, it says on here that motion made by Chitwood, seconded by Malure to approve the purchase of a new fire engine. If I remember correctly, we didn't vote to approve the purchase of a new fire engine because we don't even have one to buy.
No, you
We
approved
were
the-
going to give the
process.
fire chief permission to go out and start the process to look and shop and potentially talk to a banking institution about a loan, but not to buy a fire
Right.
truck.
Okay,
So that needs to be updated to,
we will get that corrected. Thank you. All right, anything further on item A? Okay, when ready, call for the vote.
Shropshire?
Abstain.
Malure?
Yes.
Chitwood?
Yes.
Trammell?
Abstain.
Gantier?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
Lamar?
Yes.
Oh. Thanks.
All right, item B, approve minutes of the August 21st, 2023 special council meeting. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
I have a motion from Chitwood,
Second.
second from Gantier. Do we have a discussion?
I think there was one or two that wasn't here for that. That's all it is.
Call for the vote.
Malure,
Yes.
Chitwood,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Gantier,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Lamar,
Yes.
Shropshire.
Yes.
Okay. All right, item L, approve mayor to sign Oklahoma Emergency Management Performance Grant.
Motion.
We have a motion from Choya,
Second.
second from Chitwood. Discussion?
Yes, sir, I have a question on Appendix 1.2. It says recipients are encouraged to adopt and enforce policies that ban text messaging, and it goes on to say, and I don't have a problem with that necessarily, that's not an issue. Are there other things in here that we are, to stay compliant, that we have to do? It's just a question of curiosity. I didn't see it, but I didn't have a chance to study it like I normally do.
No, I don't believe so. I think, is Johnny still out there? No? Okay. I think he's gone through it pretty thoroughly. He hasn't expressed any concern for any of these items on there, so. And he has been very thorough with these things, so. If there's
Chris,
any-
which page are you talking about?
It's Appendix 1.2.
Down at the bottom right-hand corner, there's page numbers.
This one doesn't have it, it's Appendix 1.2, so it's the second section. You read 1 through 12, and then it goes to the next section with appendixes. It's 1.2. And whereas I don't have a problem with what it's saying, I just was curious if we had other binding restrictions upon us that I didn't catch. I'll read it to you. It's Article 10. Federal leadership on reducing text messaging while driving. Recipients are encouraged to adopt and enforce policies that ban text messaging while driving as described in Executive Order 13513, including conducting initiatives described as Section 3A of the order when on official government businesses or when performing any work for or on behalf of the federal government. And like I said, I'm not opposed to that. Are there other things in there that I might have missed is all my question was.
No, I don't believe so. I think what they're saying there is we don't want these emergency management guys
Common sense.
driving down the road texting. So if you're gonna be using their grant money, then put your phone down or don't get in that scenario. Thank you. Further discussion? All right, call for the vote.
Chitwood,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Gantier,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Lamar,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Malure,
Yes.
Okay. Item M, approve mayor to sign cooperative service agreement between the City of Pryor and the United States Department of Agriculture, Animal and Health, Plant Health Inspection Service and Wildlife Services. Do you have a motion?
Motion. Second.
I have a motion from Chitwood, a second from Gantier. Discussion?
Yes, sir. Mayor, I've got some questions. Did we use them last year?
We have used them for several years.
What did they do last year?
They take care of beavers, they take care of pigeons, they take care of anything that we call them out to take care of.
Well, I guess what I'm asking you is did they do anything last year? Did we have a particular use or thing that they did?
You know, I'd have to look into that to give you not being here, I don't know what previous administration called them out to wrangle up. They are the ones that legally take care of our beavers.
I know
I remember-
somebody else that legally took care of them too, but I didn't charge $5,000.
Raccoons.
But anyway, what my question is, if we're not actually using them, will we charge this amount whether we use them or not?
No, well, it's an agreement that we have with them every year, so when they come out and do that, yeah, we're paying it.
But I mean, what I'm getting at today, we pay this regardless if we do anything or not.
We pay it when we tell them, hey, we want you to come take care of these problems, and they say, sign the agreement and we'll come out and take care of it. That also
it's
covers.
not a monthly payment.
So it's a
That's what I'm
$5,000
saying.
one-time fee for annual fee.
Yes, and this has been encumbered by the city for
Right.
ever.
But I agree with Mr. Smith that it would be nice if we could get a report, and the city clerk's office may have, but I would
think
like to
we
see a
do.
report of what they did yearly or monthly. I mean, that's, just
I
to see what we're
remember-
getting, what kind of issues we have.
I remember last year we did call them for the pigeons. I don't remember what time frame. Sometime after the summer last year, but I'm sure I can gather that information for you guys.
Will they take care of the Muscovy ducks as well? Because those are feral and they are very destructive.
That's the wildlife department that does that. That's a
Yeah.
different,
And they're only able to do it certain
Branch.
times of year.
My question on this, or where I'm headed with this, would we be ahead to pay a local person, if there's one there, which I think there is, on items that we need, rather than paying them $5,000 and not doing anything or not using them?
Well, there's a lot that comes with this, Bruce. One is the insurances that they carry with them, the safeties, the licensing. I brought that question up years ago too, and I'm convinced that it's logically and legally the safest way to go. If they go out and they think they're shooting a beaver and they end up shooting Fluffy over at Nina's house, then we have a problem. That's on them. If somebody unlicensed and unregistered and whatever shoots Fluffy, then that's a civil issue between them. And I would hope that those people aren't representatives of the city. So, no, I think it behooves us to keep this in our back pocket.
I'm just looking at how we're spending $5,000. That was my end thing. If we're actually used them, that's one thing. If it's there and we're not, that's another.
We are, and you know, those things come and go. We can't predict what's gonna walk its way into our town. You know, I think, Bruce, you were one that told me a month or two ago that on the south end of town, you saw a fairly large cat,
Yes,
right?
yes.
That's not something we need to go out and shoot ourselves.
I don't think you can legally.
Right, so
I don't
That's
think
what they
he's
do.
gonna trap one, but anyway, I'm wondering what they have. I know what the potential.
well, I think if you guys would like, we can look into that report and see about getting that to you. That's not a problem.
I'll
The
tell you
report-
guys, if I may, something else in this contract that I don't think a private person locally may have is access to determining, basically impact studies on endangered animals. They cover that in this agreement. So if there's an endangered species that they're looking at, they'll take extra resources and put it towards that study before taking care of the animal in whatever way needed.
Oh, I
There's just
understand.
something else in here.
I agree that it's probably a good plan. I just wonder if we're actually getting our money's worth, is what I'm asking. If we just got them on there and we don't use them, then we're wasting $5,000.
Well, we all carry insurance policies on our vehicle, but we don't wreck every year. So I think it is good for us to carry this and to maintain these things. Now, I'm not talking about your car, but, you know, we need to make sure that we have an agreement when that agreement is needed.
I do have a
Well-
question of curiosity. Some of the problems with the beavers occur outside of the city limits. And then they back up the creeks and the streams and because we've had problems in our ward with that. With permission of the landowner, are they allowed to do that, or will they only do stuff within the municipal limits as far as taking care of the beavers and such?
I don't know what our agreement allows us to the outside of our municipal boundaries. I think it respectively goes directly to ours, so,
That's why we have Bruce.
Yeah.
no.
Works for me.
All right. Further discussion? Jerry,
yes,
would you add?
I've got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Since you're, I assume you're the one that's gonna sign this contract. On the financial part of it, we're already being charged 11% for pool job cost of over $400 and indirect cost of 16% for $635. What does that mean? What are we getting charged for?
Could you clarify where you are, please, sir?
Right there.
It's on the very next to last page of the contract. It's called financial.
Oh,
plan.
pool costs. Okay.
I'm just curious as to what those extra costs are. Why, what is it?
So I think, I don't want to give you an I think. Let me get that answer for you.
Okay,
I will do that.
okay.
Does that
Mayor,
suffice for?
would it be possible to table this until we come up with the information for next council meeting and vote on it, or does it have to be done tonight?
What are we looking to come up with between now and then? I'm not clear on that.
What did they do last year? What did they perform last
If you
year?
guys want to table it, we can table it.
That's all I'm
Well,
asking.
would it put us in a bind would be a better question by waiting 2 weeks to decide this.
I think we will be fine. I do think that this is one that, just like most insurance policies, if you will, I know I keep comparing it to that. I think it's a good thing to keep active and go. There's nothing that says if we wait 2 weeks, we're done. But if you want that information, we can definitely get that to you before we sign it.
And if we change our mind, if I remember correctly, is it 60 days, I think? Is that correct? On that one, to change our mind, we got enough time, 60 days?
Sure.
One of them said 60 days, I think it's.
So I will make it clear that the city does not endorse city officials of any kind taking this matter into their own hands. That is not endorsed by the city, nor is it recognized as appropriate. So, all right, do we have are we gonna change the motion to table that? Is that what? Does the motion stand?
I don't know who made the motion.
I did. You guys want to table it?
I'm fine either way.
I am too.
When does it be, the one we're in now, end?
Courtney, do you recall when that ended?
Has it already
Or
ended?
ends?
It's October, it says on the page,
Yeah, I think we still have time.
October 1st is when it runs out.
So we got another meeting before.
It's in Article 12, Charles.
It wouldn't hurt to table it.
I know I saw it somewhere.
Are we changing the motion or are we staying?
Change the motion to table.
Okay, who had the second?
Gantier seconded.
I was the one, yeah, I'll make that change.
Okay, then I have a motion to table until our next council meeting. And a second, call for the vote.
Trammell,
Yes.
Gantier,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Lamar,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Malure,
Yes.
Chitwood.
Yes.
We'll get that report out to you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Item N, approve an expenditure in the amount of $3,014.46 to the Junior Library Guild for new materials from the library books account 02-221-5034. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion from Chitwood,
I'll second it.
second from Choya. Discussion?
Yes, I had tried to call Carrie, but I missed her. I just wanted her to explain that a little bit, because I'm just curious what it is. Not that I'm against it, I'm just curious what it is.
It is what we call in the industry
Do you wanna-
a standing order.
You want to read off of that?
I mean, I can, I don't need to.
Okay.
So basically, we have asked the Junior Library Guild to send us books on a regular basis. And they are books that they curate. They have librarians on their staff. Generally speaking, Junior Library Guild almost always picks the award winners way before they've been nominated for an award. So they really do vet these books that they send to us. It streamlines our ordering process in the youth services department. And it makes that go faster. We do have the opportunity to send anything back that we don't want, but this is just the payment to do. We haven't gotten all the books yet, but this is the payment that'll pay for all of the books that we get throughout the year.
My question is, it gives a category, immediate readers, and a quantity one. Is it like a set of books?
I'm not sure how many come in an order. I can call Autumn and ask, but yeah, I mean, she's asked them, they have like a package basically, and so this is the package that we've signed up for.
Okay, because I mean, it's not one book, $236. It might be like 10,
No,
12,
no,
15
no.
books.
No, it's lots of books.
Okay.
Books are expensive, but they're not quite that expensive yet. E-books though, those are, yeah.
Thank you.
That's another story. All right, any other questions? Thanks.
Okay, no further discussion. We'll call for the vote.
Gantier,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Lamar,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Malure,
Yes.
Chitwood,
Yes.
Trammell.
Yes.
Okay. Item R, approve signing an MOU with Oklahoma Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services to provide Pryor with a vending machine stocked with free Narcan, Noxolone, and fentanyl test strips. The vending machine will be located at the north entrance of the Thomas J. Harrison Pryor Public Library. Do you have a motion?
Motion.
Motion from Chitwood,
I'll second.
second from Choya. Discussion?
Yes, I do have some discussion. Well, first of all, I'm not happy with the location, and I know there's been discussion saying, you know, kids this, kid that. Well, it sends a bad message to kids and stuff. They don't understand. But I know when Ms. Roberts was explaining her involvement, and by the way, I'm not anti having Narcan for people, but she went through some training. And training is hugely important. People can use things inappropriately, wrong. There could be some problems that go along with it. Some of the things that bother me, and I know I'm probably going to be ripped for this, but I'm concerned some of these people think they have an antidote, and so they're just going to throw caution to the wind. And if the person that is using has that antidote, well, they're not going to have the mindset when and how to use it, especially if they've been trained. They'll be too messed up. I'm also concerned about the liability, especially if we use these fentanyl strips or things that's on city property. Then boom, you know, it didn't work, somebody dies, there's a problem. There's lots of things, but one of the biggest things, I just do not believe the library is an appropriate place for it in any way, shape, or form.
So why the library? That's a good point.
So this started with an email from the Oklahoma Department of Libraries back in May. And it was just a feeler email from ODL asking if there were any libraries interested in partnering. This is Katie Lenhart, by the way, she's with the state. Any libraries interested in partnering with the state to have these vending machines available. I sent out feelers to the police department, the fire department, and City Hall, just to see what they all thought. We all kind of thought it might be a good idea, talked to the board about it, and so here we are. There is some precedent for these machines to be at libraries, including in Oklahoma, that are not in urban areas. And to the 24-hour access that I've seen some comments about, it will be outside, so it would be available 24 hours a day.
Doesn't make any difference about the temperature. 104 to freezing, you say?
Yes, so actually the Narcan box that Nina had, actually, do you mind if I use it? So these are the
I'm sorry, would you introduce yourself, please?
I would love to, yes. So, hi everyone, my name is Katie Lenhart, and I am at the Oklahoma Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services. So, we are the state agency that is the leader in prevention, education, and treatment of mental health issues and also substance use issues. So, I'm here on behalf of the state to help, hopefully get a vending machine in your community. Thank you. So these boxes right here are actually what are filled in the machine. So this right here is exactly what's in the machine, just has a different case over it, so it matches the branding. But this Narcan that's actually stocked in the machines, there isn't a temperature that can affect the medication. So it was 104 was the limit, the heat limit. The machines are also refrigerated, so that helps if they're outside in the heat. We do ask, and Carrie and I talked about this, that there is some type of overhang to just help protect from the sun. This, if you don't mind, this screen right here is an LED touch screen that you can choose the product, and so that can deteriorate in the sun. So that's also why we ask for an overhang. But they're refrigerated, and it is true that the medication can freeze, and as long as it thaws, it can still be used.
How does a person access the machine?
The product on the machine? So all you do is and this is about life size. So you come up to this screen right here, you click the touch screen. It will ask you if you are wanting to get a box of the fentanyl test strips or of the Narcan. You each of the products. And so you just type in your zip code and then it dispenses completely for free.
So could a 12-year-old walk up there and do that?
Yes, they could.
So I want to go back to the location. I wasn't done with the location piece. I view a library as a safe space for our kids. And I don't think this is going to keep that safe space. Again, I am not opposed to these in general. I'm going to throw, and I have been on the phone all day. MESTA carries Narcan. Chief Cantrell, the police officers carry Narcan, I believe, if they get called. We have first responders for a reason, and I understand Mr. Britton's point that they can't always be there on time. That's, I think, for any emergency situation. So I'm going to throw out 3 locations, and I want you to tell me why those locations are not suitable for this. Right across from the library is the lobby of the police station, which is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Second is Grand Lake Mental Health, which is right across the street from the hospital with an emergency room, which already hands out Narcan between 8 and 5. And the third one is the Oklahoma Department of Health, the health department, right across from the sheriff's office. Why would none of those work instead of putting it in the one location in this city that is the most vulnerable for kids to walk by and literally say, well, if I do illegal drugs, I'll just grab one of these tests or one of these kits, take it home, and I'll be okay. I feel more comfortable to do drugs now.
So I actually have answers to your questions. So with the vending machines, our goal is to not place them near law enforcement, to not place them in medical settings.
Why?
Because those settings already have Narcan. And really our goal with the machines and with this whole branding, right? So these boxes have their own little cases in there. Our goal is to eliminate stigma. And our goal really is to make them a community resource, which is why at the Department of Health, we identified libraries as potentially a great location. They're community centers that welcome everyone and are free resources, just like the machines and just like these products. So that really was our whole goal, was to keep them.
So do you hand them out for free? Does Pryor Place hand these out for free?
No. And I don't mind putting it in the police department. I mean, we can put it in a foyer outside the door, so instead you walk into the foyer between and you go back inside. So we can put it out the foyer where they don't even come inside the police station. They technically walk in the foyer. I'm not opposed to that, so.
And I will address one other thing that someone had mentioned earlier about using Narcan as a drug user. You actually cannot use Narcan on yourself. If you're experiencing an overdose, you're probably passed out or dead. So actually Narcan is used for, or is supposed to be on hand for your home. We've seen that 80% of overdoses happen at home, 40% happen with a bystander. If a bystander had a Narcan kit, they could save someone's life. So you actually, if you are an illicit drug user and you think, oh, I can just use Narcan and come back to life, that's totally not how it works. It's worked for, if you have someone in your life, or for instance, the Durant Public Library, they're the ones that, they're the first library in the state who have installed a vending machine. It is outside, so kind of similar if y'all were to decide the library, or whichever location you'd like. It's located outside, so it's 24/7 access. And the day of install, actually, they had because I emailed Robbie, my contact down there earlier today, they had a grandma who was at the library with her 2 grandsons that were like tweens. And she asked what the machine was for, right? No one's ever seen these before. And we explained to her what it was. And she mentioned that she uses fentanyl patches for her cancer treatment. And she would really like to have Narcan on hand in case, for some reason, one of her grandsons got into them and it stuck to them and they could potentially overdose. And so that day that they installed the machine, she got a couple kits just in case.
So what about move on from the police station?
Sure.
But I would prefer it not to be on city property just because of the potential liability that could exist. So what about Grand Lake Mental Health, which is already handing these out? And that, it's my understanding they have someone there 24/7. So if there was an emergency, they could use them.
Sure, yeah.
But to
so-
your point, whether you just want to have it on hand, they're already handing them out in our community.
Yeah, and you're absolutely correct. Grand Lake is actually an amazing partner. I'm so happy y'all have them in the community. But like I said, really our goal, we don't need to supply Grand Lake with a vending machine. They already have it. We really want to have the vending
But then why do
machine
you need the vending machine?
so that it's more accessible to the public. Because there's a lot of stigma to accessing Narcan or going into a behavioral health facility, a hospital, police department. There's a lot of stigma. And if you are someone who is nervous about what, people might think if you're walking into Grand Lake, you can go up to the machine at any time and get it completely for free.
Who has the responsibility of refilling the machines?
Great question. So all the liability and all the restock is on the behalf of the Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services. So that's also listed in the MOU. Any liability, if there's any damage to the machine, right? We've gotten a lot of questions, especially if they're outside. Well, what if someone breaks into it? What if someone unplugs it? What if there's graffiti? We have thought about all of those things since way before May when we were able to send out that email with Department of Libraries. And that is something that we completely own and will take care of. We also have restock partners across the entire state. So I know earlier today, actually, I was in Veneta in Craig County, and we installed 2 machines at the Will Rogers Archway, one going eastbound, one going westbound. And we have 2 of our facilities in Tulsa who are helping to restock that machine. Since y'all are so close, guarantee you they could be a partner there. But you are absolutely not responsible for the restock.
That's not what your contract says.
What does it say?
Partner, which would be the city staff, will be responsible for ensuring the machine remains in good working order and also to refill inventory as needed.
Oh, well, that's super wrong. So
That's
I
in,
actually
that's
have
in your
a copy.
that's in your MOU contract.
Yeah.
So that's probably just an old version of the MOU, and I will absolutely send an updated one, because yes, that is totally not the language. That's actually the opposite. We are completely responsible for refilling and restocking the machine.
So do you have statistics on the number of people that are using these machines that are habitual users of illegal drugs versus the grandmas that just want to have it in their house in case they need it?
Sure. So we only have 3 machines officially placed right now, and since we are not asking for identifying information, we're just asking for zip code, we're not able to access that level of information. I do have some, and I'm sorry, y'all, I'm a millennial, so I got my notes on my phone. Please forgive me. But I do have statistics for Mays County in particular. So in 2021 to 2022, the opiate drug of choice in Mays County doubled. And so we do not have numbers right now for 2023, right? We're only a little bit more than halfway through. But we are seeing opiate use skyrocket, and that's not just here, it's across the state, it's across the country. And naloxone can reverse any opioid overdose. So we are really seeing that if the opiate use continues to climb, this is a great thing to have available to help combat and save lives.
I would like to say something, and this is extremely personal. I appreciate Mr. Britton opening up to what he was saying. I appreciate Ms. Roberts. I'm not originally from here. I'm from Louisiana. My wife had a disease, a disorder, and it caused some mental confusion and things like this. Anyway, they gave her some medicine that had suicidal tendencies. They never told us that. She ended up dying from an overdose. Okay, so I'm when I tell you I had one of the best wives there ever was, and so this is real to me, okay? I would not want Narcan available in a vending machine. If this stuff's gonna be placed in people's hands, they need to be trained. And so I appreciate the idea and the intentions behind it. I really do, because I'm talking from personal experience. It's been 9 years, but it was yesterday. Understand, because like I said, love my wife dearly. It traumatized so many people. I mean, and I'm telling you, I would not want it available, even going through that without the proper training. I don't think it's wise to do it in this manner, and that's all I'm gonna say.
Aren't people combative when they come off this, whenever, what is it called? They're on a high or they're unconscious, whenever you bring them back, aren't they normally combative?
They can be, and that's something that I know EMS and police have more experience with. I can't really speak to it, but, oh, Heather, go ahead.
I got the eye. Hi, I'm Heather Ramsier. For those of you that don't know me, I actually wear 2 hats in Mays County. One is I am the co-chair for the Mays County DROP Coalition, which is a drug reduction outreach program. Secondly, I have the community-based prevention services grant here in Mays County that specifically is attached to the overdose incidences that are happening, and I'm sorry, I'm nervous. Some of the questions that have come across this, a couple of you mentioned about individuals that you have been personally. We've also heard stories. I'm going to tell you about a story that happened 2 weeks ago. For those of you that saw the newscast, we partnered with the library and we had a display about how many individuals in Mays County had passed away. They were represented by purple butterflies. And in Oklahoma, we had, which was 47, and we had those individuals in white by 10. Each white butterfly was represented by 10 individuals in Oklahoma. A couple of weeks ago, I was doing an Narcan training. This is something that I have offered in Mays County through the state and another entity, and that's how some people in this room today have had Narcan training. That's been going on for a couple of years here in Mays County. This is not something new. This is a benefit. 2 weeks ago, I had an individual that I did training. I got a phone call from her this weekend. Her husband was found lying on their bed, slumped over, and she had no idea what had happened. He had recently been taking some opiates. They changed his opiate medication dosage. She called 911 and she administered the Narcan. He was dying from a Narcan overdose. It is not just those individuals. Opiate overdose. It's not just from those people that suffer from some substance misuse. It's individuals such as ourselves that, particularly men in Mays County, that have a high rate of overdoses. You're not intentionally doing it. A lot of you feel better after taking a couple of medications for a couple of days and then you put it aside. Then the pain becomes overwhelming and you take that medication again and you may be taking it at a higher level and you are at risk for overdose. That's why it's really important for families. When she was talking about the stigma that comes along with that, I see it every day. I would love for any of you to come and look at some of the stories that we have been collecting for the last couple of years about the stigma, about going into even just the police station and disposing medications that are unused or expired. That's why we host 2 take-back events in Mays County across the county to allow people to come in and do it at their own will. We have a strong partnership with the police department here, and that is one of the things that we promote. In between the take-back events, go there and dump your medication. But there is a stigma about this. And I do respect the awareness of it being placed at the library, but I also have seen the data that there's a lot of people that come through there. And I've heard a lot of comments today about that. They're coming there anyway. For those of you that are thinking that it's the substance misusers that have that problem, they're coming to the library anyway. They're coming around that area. They could be in this room for all we know, but at least this gives their families the option in somewhat privacy to be able to get an Narcan kit and have it in their first aid kit. Somebody was talking about the being trained. We still offer trainings, but even if they're not going to a formal training, these are really simple to use. And I didn't hear anybody mention about the risk of using this. There's a Good Samaritan law that's in place. Also, if that individual that they're helping is not suffering from a Narcan situation or an overdose situation, Narcan is not going to hurt them. I can open this up right now and put it in my nose. The only thing I'm going to get is a wet nose. Statistically, the reason why I have the CBPS grant is because males in Mays County from 12 to 35 have high numbers of overdoses. So if a 12-year-old did decide that they wanted to get Narcan to make sure that their friends are safe, I support that. And if not the library, then where? Where is it going to be centrally located that people aren't gonna have a stigma about going and getting it?
I have a good idea. What about Come and Go? Come and Go's open 24 hours, nobody's looking at you, but we'll come and go for it.
Being a corporate, that's something that we're gonna have to talk with them about.
I don't have a problem with Narcan, I have a problem with the library. I don't want it there.
The location.
I don't want it on city property, but if you're gonna provide it at a place that's open 24 hours. You can't go to the police station. A guy's gonna take drugs, he's not gonna go to the police station to get a strip to test his drugs. I mean, I know that's stupid.
Bingo. We're enabling illicit drug use. And I'm sorry, I hear the stories, and I get the stories, but I don't hear the statistics on what percentage those stories make up. I'm gonna turn to Chief Cantrell again and ask him, does Pryor Police have the statistics on the runs y'all make, the calls y'all make, having to give Narcan? How many of those are the grandmas of the world versus the illegal drug users?
Very much for the drug users. I don't have the statistics offhand, but, statistically, that's what we're gonna run on. Common sense tells me if I'm taking some type of prescription drug, and there's a chance that I might overdose myself with it.
Then why doesn't the doctor give it to them?
Yeah.
On the doctor piece, I'm gonna tell you from personal experience, my spouse was given, he had 3 back surgeries that were bad. He was given enough fentanyl that was prescribed for someone that's passing away from cancer. Because of my education and my job, I challenged that doctor. Not only that, he did not co-prescribe Narcan to him. And because of my job, we had it available. But if you didn't have the knowledge of what Narcan did, if you didn't have the knowledge that we had an opiate crisis, would you know to ask your doctor for that? Would you know to ask your pharmacist for that? You wouldn't. There's lots of things in our daily life that we don't know, and it's about education.
It's really a shame. Several years ago, we started in the schools with the police department's DARE program to do away with drugs. Now we're talking about where can we put a machine to get you out of it? We went the other direction.
Exactly. We become a society that is not gonna focus on getting illegal drugs off the street, but enabling the continued use of those illegal drugs. And I'm sorry, the stigma is there, correct, you're right. That's why we have mental health professionals. Grand Lake Mental Health, I'm sure they have them at the health department. Get them there, but don't put these machines right where a kid can use them. If a 12-year-old walked into Grand Lake Mental Health and said, I need some Narcan, Grand Lake's not just gonna throw it out at them, they're gonna ask a lot of hard questions.
Which is why that 12-year-old will never go to Grand Lake Mental Health to get Narcan.
Exactly.
Can I ask the attorney a question? I've read our city charter and most, if not all, of the ordinances. I don't see or recall anywhere where the city has that authority to act on people's medical benefit in this fashion, other than through what would be police and fire and such. I think that's something that might need to be looked in as well.
What is the question on that? Can the city do this? Is that the
We're acting almost like a health professional in this situation.
And what liability does that expose
And
us
yeah,
to?
and that's my question. Where's it?
So that's a good question. So first I'll say this, as far as from a liability standpoint only, not including optics, because that's not me, that's you guys. Liability, if you put it at the police station or if you put it at the library, it's gonna be the same. Doesn't matter, it's city property. So optics is you guys, as far as from liability, doesn't matter where it's going. Narcan, is it over the counter? Or is it a prescription?
It will be available over the counter November 1st. Yeah. There is an open prescription for it right now. Also, with my program, we offer training as well as giving it out free. But again, it's the families that don't go to those events. It's those families that aren't going and seeking medical, whether it be mental health problems, and that don't know those resources are available.
So it's currently a prescription medicine?
An open prescription is when you can go into your local pharmacy and just ask the pharmacist for Narcan. Most insurance will pay for it. I will tell you, we do have 3 partners here in Mays County. pharmacists that are active members of the Drop Coalition and work with us and have partnerships.
So
You
it
need
is
to- you have to have a
available to the
prescription.
public then.
Now, let me go back to that liability, because there's more, I need to ask that question and answer it. If it becomes over the counter, I think you're looking at the same thing from a liability standpoint if you were doing Tylenol, a Tylenol dispenser. The memorandum of understanding, I do wanna go over a couple things in that, because it sounds like it might not be the most recent version anyway, but.
I'll get that to you.
Okay.
Sorry
So
about that.
that's all right, so under the current one, it's a memorandum of understanding, it is not a contract. So what you need to know, and I'm not saying this is a concern, but what you need to know about it is we cannot contractually hold the Mental Health Association liable if something happens. We're not in charge of this product. I think what she's saying, oh yeah, I know what she's saying is they provide it, we're supposed to restock what you provide, I think is what this says.
And that's incorrect, we will restock.
So we
the
don't
machines.
restock.
Correct, yes.
So
Yeah, that's
this,
totally not.
this also has, it's the Mental Health Association responsibility to come set it up. It's our responsibility to maintain it. It sounds like the new version does not have that.
That is correct. So if there is, and by maintain, we mean if there is any issue with it whatsoever, you contact us. I think it says within a week or 2 weeks, and we will take care of it.
Yeah, and this says we're supposed to if something happens to it, like it's damaged, we can contact, but it doesn't say what happens. So that led me to the question of who actually owns the stuff.
The machine and the stuff, yes. Yeah.
So that's the stuff I think you need to be aware of when you're looking at liability is who is responsible for this.
Yeah, they're already paid for, they're placed completely free of charge, and that goes for the machine.
So who is responsible for those? Are we not partnering with them if there is?
Partnering with them from a contractual standpoint, and there's no indemnification. So contractually, if something happens and we get sued, we can't go after them contractually under this memorandum of agreement. There might be negligence, there's some other standards that we might be able to.
So if someone took a fentanyl test strip out of there, tested whatever they're taking, it came back as negative, they took it and it had fentanyl in it, they could sue the city.
Yes, but first, we're prefacing that, you can sue anybody for any reason, so it's the outcome I'm concerned about. And in that, I don't know that we get through a motion to dismiss, I'll say that. So I think where you guys are going to decide is, accepting this is some liability, I mean, anytime you do anything, there is some liability. So then it comes down to, is the benefit, which is your decision, worth the risk of the liability of anything? This memorandum of understanding does not give any protections, I will say that. No, it sounds like this isn't the most updated version though.
Well, and I
So-
will say too, for our partners, we can update the language as needed. So if there's language that could be updated that would make the city more comfortable, we've done that with other partners, and that's something that we could definitely do if necessary.
Can you put it at
Let
the
me
emer-
make a recommendation, because I'm just sitting here listening. It seems the biggest concern is obviously the liability on the end. Like you said, somebody uses it, doesn't work right, oop, now the city's liable, right? We've got a few things with the contract. Why don't we make a suggestion, let's table this. Let's get the new updated contract and the verbiage that we need. And then we can revisit it upon another discussion and see if that meets the needs of the council.
But before doing that, Mr. Mayor, can you reach out to Grand Lake or someone else here and find out if they would be willing to put it on their property?
Yeah, the best coverage from me, my standpoint, of not being intimidated to use it, is go to a Okie Dokie, go to a convenience store, go to Come and Go, and see if they would let you put it in there, and people wouldn't be intimidated by that.
And since it's a state, supported program, why not use a state or potentially a county location? Why city? I don't want the liability. Like I said, I'm 100%. I would, it'd be great if a lot of people were trained and had access to this. That's not my problem. It's location, lack of training, where it could lead to. I just think this is an unwise thing in this format for citizens of Pryor and for those substance abusers. I do believe it's unwise.
Well, let's, can we redo the motion? I think we're kind of going in circles a little bit here. The address of the concern, the address of both sides' concern. I think we need to start with a new updated contract, right? See where we're at.
I have a couple more questions, actually.
Okay,
Do you mind yielding to someone else to ask some questions, since you guys basically already have your mind made up down there?
You said it's gonna be 1 November? Is they whenever they're over the counter?
November 1st.
November 1st. And when you say over the counter, Walmart, Beggs,
But they will have to pay for it. It's gonna be a cost. There will be a cost to it.
so these are free?
Yes, those are free. Those will be free. It will cost you the time to go to the unit, put your zip code in, and be able to pick it up. That's all it's gonna
Another question that, I know this is kind of different, but let's say that, we had COVID, and we had COVID tests that were given out and everything. Is there a possibility that the state could possibly work something like they did with the COVID test?
You mean to mail?
They could, yeah.
I actually will offer, so on, so real quick on this machine, this website at the bottom here, okready.org, and you can't really tell, but on each of these, every single box, there is a URL and a QR code for people to scan to learn more, and there's actually how-to videos on the website. I, unfortunately, am in the videos as the overdose-e, so y'all can check me out on the website. But there are training videos, and then we also on okready.org have a form that you can request a naloxone box or a fentanyl test strip box to be mailed to your house. So that is also an option that we have for the communities that may not get a machine, because we only have 40, and we have a lot of people lined up, and so we want to make sure that they're placed in counties where it makes sense and are doing the best for that community. But yes, you can actually order them online, similar to the COVID test strips.
Okay, see, that could be handy too.
Mr. Lamar, did you have questions?
Yes, I do. I have a few questions, and I would like to ask him tonight to help me decide on how we should proceed with this, or at least in my opinion, in my studies on this. I've got a few, and some are statistics, some's about the contract. But do we have, and do you have any ideas on statistics of how many drug overdose deaths have been in the city of Pryor in the past year?
In the past year, I know of 7,
What about Mays County?
47.
Okay. And
18% of those were male.
do you have an age group?
They range from 12 to 35. There are a few, and the latest 2 that I know of were over 45.
But starting at age 12.
What percentage was males, you said?
You have 12 to 35 in males, and there was 18% that were male.
Okay. And I'm glad it was brought up about the contract, because there's some wording in the contract that I have a question about.
Sure.
It mentions in here that the mental health department will agree to provide the financial, material, and labor resources in respect to the project. What does that mean?
So that means basically if anything should happen to the machine, any damage, anything at all.
Just call you.
with this, you call me. Yep.
Okay. And then down a couple of sentences down, it says the partner hereby, who is a city, the partner will hereby agree to provide the following financial, material, and labor resources in respect to the project.
And it should say nothing.
It says the partner staff will, be responsible for ensuring the remains in good working order and to refill. You're saying that you take care of all that?
Yes.
Okay. The question came up that if we did put it at the library in this location, that we, the city, would need to put in some electrical outlets to support that. Does that not fall under your purview to pay for us to do that with, since it's financial, material, and labor resources?
That is a great point. I will have to check on that. We haven't had to make any electrical changes so far with any of our locations, so this will be the first time, but that's something we can definitely look into, and I'll let you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then, I think personally that this is a great program, and I think it has the benefit to help a lot of people. Is this gonna be the first machine in Mays County?
Correct.
Are there plans for others in Mays County?
So far, I do not have an additional Mays County partner yet.
Okay,
Didn't you say that you only have 40 machines?
Correct.
through the whole
And-
state?
Through the entire state, yes.
How many?
And
40?
If we rock back and wait on this one can be gone.
It depends on how long. I think you all mentioned your next city council meeting is in 2 weeks, right? I could probably hold one until then. I will say 35 are spoken for. One of those 35 I've reserved for Pryor. And so if in 2 weeks there's still not a decision, I'm not necessarily sure it would be available.
Do you have these machines in, how many now let me rephrase this, how many libraries in Oklahoma have them?
So one so far in Durant, but we have several university libraries that are on our list, and some other local libraries as well. Yeah.
How
Okay.
many machines are in service right now?
In service right now, there are, we just placed the 2 this morning, so 6.
Okay.
So we have one in
So it's pretty
Tulsa.
new.
Yeah, very new. Mhm.
Let me ask this, if,
Sure.
while we're deciding this, can you any of you all contact some of the local convenience stores to see if they'd be interested in putting it there?
I definitely think so, yeah. The only issue, and I think someone brought this up earlier, is that when it's a chain, you got a lot of rungs up the ladder you gotta climb. So we're trying on the city, level first. But yes, we can
That would be
absolutely
the best exposure you could get, I'd think.
And I will say too, if it's and I'm sorry, Mayor, I know that you're trying to wrap it up a little bit, but if there is a better location that you will decide, we at the Department of Mental Health are not married to the library, we just felt like it would be a great location. Carrie's been a great
Although we're
partner
a great
so far.
spouse, just saying. We're good spouses.
Yes, and so, but if it is determined that there's a better, more central location with more traffic or whatever that might be, that can definitely be an option.
Do you normally just have these right now currently in government-type facilities? Or is any commercial establishments have them yet?
Let me think, okay, so.
Or
our very-
propose to have them?
Yeah, so our very first machine is at the Tulsa Day Center in Tulsa County.
Okay.
We also have one at the Oklahoma Healthcare Authority in Oklahoma City, so that's a state building. We have the Embark Bus Station in Midtown, Oklahoma City. We have Durant Public Library and Community Center, and then we have the 2 at the Veneta Arches Concession Plaza. So we are working with the Turnpike Authority on those placements.
On these other places that you have them, have you had any pushback?
Oh, definitely,
And
yeah.
it's like tonight?
Oh, yeah, I mean, this is not the first time we're getting these questions, I'll tell you right now.
Okay.
And we've had partners pull out, even though they are, a county in need. And so we are really hoping that we can, form a very strong partnership, that we can hopefully provide something, again, totally for free. And once I get you that contract, that liability free, for you all to really just be, a wonderful help in your communities. Cause like Heather's on the ground here, she knows firsthand, and I'm sure, all of y'all know firsthand too, so, yeah.
Okay, I have two more quick things, Mr. Mayor. I'm gonna put the library on the hot seat here. Your library board unanimously agreed with this and no discussions, pushback or anything?
The discussion that we had was similar to the concerns here about whether or not we're enabling drug users to continue using, if there would be resources for them to get help that they need. But ultimately, it was decided that life is too important to worry about that particular piece. And we can, if we can save a life with this, the board and I feel like this is something that's worthwhile. And whether we put it at the library or not, I think, when I did the entire library staff did the Narcan training with Heather. And she let us know that Mays County is in the top 5 counties for unintentional overdoses with opiates in the state. Top 5. That's not a place that I am proud to have Mays County in. So if we can, life is pretty precious and pretty important. And so I feel like this machine is definitely needed in our community. And whether we put it at the library or not, I really do think that we need to acknowledge that this problem exists and that we have the capabilities and the resources through this state grant to save people's lives. And then maybe that will help them get help if they need it, or choose a different life path, whatever they need. But I think that's what the board decided.
Okay, thank you. Lastly, Mayor, and this is to this group. Tonight is a perfect example again of why we have memorandum agreements, memorandum understandings that was gonna be, try to be pushed through tonight without it even being the correct one. And this is specifically, it's more of a template. There's nothing filled out in here to be properly signed tonight or tomorrow if we pass this tonight. It's just a template, and that, it's not filled out correctly. The city attorney hadn't even read it until I brought it to his attention right before the meeting.
Correct. So
This again is an example as to why it's bad business for the city to do any kind of MOA, memorandum of understanding, contract, et cetera, without dotting your i's and crossing your t's first. And I'm very glad that she brought this up, that this isn't even the correct one. And that you even, I think you said a while ago that maybe the language can be changed to tweak, so to speak, for what needs to be done. So even if we were 100% on board with this, it needs to be tabled to even have the contract, the MOU, to be done correctly. That's all.
Thank you. So again, that's why I bring back the offer from whatever, 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
That we need to, my suggestion would be to change the motion to table this, get the correct contract in, okay? Let's get those verbiage changed. Carrie, we can sit down, Chase, and see what needs to be changed, what we can change, what we need to tweak, what settles that discomfort of liability to the city. Clearly, that's an issue. Let's sit down and talk about this. In the meantime, do your homework, get us the stuff we need. We'll do our side. If the council will table this, I think if we were to call a vote right now, like Mr. Lamar said, I think most everybody up here already has their mind made up. The idea is due process says, let's get the right stuff. Let's do it. Something just take off? Let's get that done and we'll bring it back in the next council meeting.
So I will change my motion to table pending correct contract and further information on the wiring that may be required at the library, any other type of liability like
I'm gonna
this.
interject super fast. I got an estimate from Bostic Electric about that outlet. It's less than $300.
And I'll second that.
I would call for the vote.
Smith,
Yes.
Lamar,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Malure,
Yes.
Chitwood,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Gantier.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we are at item S, accept the resignation of volunteer firefighter Trayton Featherston, effective August 9th, 2023.
Motion.
Second.
Motion from Chitwood, a second from Gantier. Trayton was a volunteer that just felt that he needed to attend to other things in his life, but we definitely, go ahead, I'll let you do it.
No,
It's your thing, man, you do it.
No,
It's
I did,
you.
I would just like to thank Trayton for his time with the fire department and volunteering, very much appreciated. Is anybody, and thank you very much.
Yes.
And on behalf of myself and the council and the mayor
Okay, thank you very
and
much.
the fire department,
Okay. Did we have a motion on that?
yes.
Okay, call for the vote.
Lamar.
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Malure,
Yes.
Chitwood,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Gantier,
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Okay, item T is, as in Taylor, approve resolution with respect to adoption of the amendment and restatement of the city Pryor Creek Retirement Plan number 5-20937.
So moved.
Second, Bruce.
I got a motion from Gantier, a second from Bruce. Miss Lisa, if you care to explain.
Okay, so this is some housekeeping. We, back in April, council had approved to hire Retirement LLC to replace Beasley and Company as our third-party administrator. What the Retirement LLC does, they go through our TPA, they go through the documents, make sure there's still typos and inaccuracies are fixed, and the plans are in compliance. So that's what these documents are, is them going through them, at no charge, other than us hiring them and the fees that we pay. But they didn't charge us extra for this time. So that's why this has been on hold since April, because we knew administration was changing, and we didn't want to have our free look at the documents done and then have to have it redone in May, because as you can probably see, as far as the trustees and signers, everybody's changed. And at this point, we don't have anybody that can sign any documents until we get this stuff passed, so
And if we,
that's what this is for.
and if we mess around with this, then it will cost us later on.
Yeah, well, that's why we didn't do it, before May, because it would have had to been redone in May, so.
My question, and it's a pretty simple one, other than, we have the personnel, for lack of a better word, this might be elected or hired or whatever. Apart from that kind of changes, are there any other substantial changes from what we had?
No, the documents are not, other than, it stated something like contributions are, reported monthly. They're not. I report, contributions after every pay period, just things like that.
There was
one
like
of
a
the
rename of one little thing that
Yeah, we did.
just made it clear separation.
Yes, we did
Yeah.
tell them to add a 457 on the name of the plan, just so you see it real quick on which plan it is, because we do have two different plans for the city employees. Government is not allowed to have 401K, so in kind of a mock-up of that, we have our money purchase plan, where the city contributes a percentage for the employees into their retirement. This is non-union employees. And then the other one is the 457 plan is for the employees to contribute to if they so choose. Any other questions?
Okay, no further discussion? We'll go ahead and call for the vote.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Malure,
Yes.
Chitwood,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Gantier,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Lamar.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Item U, approve a resolution with respect to adoption of the amendment and restatement City of Pryor Creek Deferred Compensation Plan number 805293.
So move.
A motion from Gantier,
Second.
second from Chitwood. Discussion?
I asked for similar reasons, and I'm assuming it's similar explanation.
Exact, same, yes. No further discussion?
No, sir.
Call for the vote.
Malure,
Yes.
Chitwood,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Gantier,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Lamar,
Yes.
Shropshire.
Yes.
Item V, approve additional amount of $720 to Perkins Irrigation Incorporated to repair the irrigation system at the Pryor Creek Recreation Center from Recreation Repair and Maintenance Account 848455091. The original bid amount of $2,875 was approved on August 15th, 2023, but the final invoice was for $3,595.
Mr. Mayor, I don't remember us pulling that one.
Okay, I'm glad I'm not the only one. I'm pretty sure that was in our.
You know what? Leave me alone, Chris. No.
I retract that. Let's go ahead and vote on it.
How about this? Let's ignore what I just said. Strike that. And we will continue on with the mayor's report. Thank you for catching that. You know, it's been a long day. On the mayor's report, I'd like to move item C to the first, because it will ultimately have an influence or not on item A. So discussion and possible action to de-annex a section of Southwest 29th Street.
So move.
I have a motion from Gantier.
Second.
Second from Chitwood. In discussion, I've been approached by Commissioner Yoder from Mays County. This section of road is currently on our Phase 2, right? Phase 2, street rehabilitation project. So ultimately, the idea is that Mr. Yoder said he will finish that road out, resurface it, if we give it back to him. Right now, there's nothing on that road that generates revenue for the city. It's in floodplain, and it's 1,912 feet, I believe, and a couple of inches. But Mr. Yoder has asked that if we would de-annex that back to the county, then he would take care of that repair in our state.
One question. Any residences?
There are two residents on that home, or I'm sorry, on that stretch of road. There's two houses. And so, talking with Mr. McBride, Mr. McBride's been talking with Mr. Prim, who represents the county, and also going back as far as with Assistant City Attorney Ben Scher, this de-annexation can be done through a ordinance of the governing body or 10 million other things that have to be done. Key word in all of that is or. So, Mr. McBride's talked to Mr. Prem with the county, and if the city will approve that process to begin, then Mr. Yoder can go ahead and get done what he's been waiting on. And then the council would understand that that would give Mr. McBride the go-ahead to get that ordinance written that would entitle whatever needs to be involved in that.
Will the two residents have opportunity to voice their opinion if they're opposed? Or is that something we're not gonna consider?
That'd be a public hearing, wouldn't it?
It would have to be a public hearing. but
My
we're-
question is, are we de-annexing just the road?
Correct.
Or are we de-annexing their property also? That's
No,
the
we are
key.
de-annexing the road.
Okay, so
Okay, yeah, so that's
So,
irrelevant. Thank you.
One of the challenges, just in transparency, one of the challenges is that there was an understanding that you have to have that property description, the legal description of that property. So when I went to the county assessor's office, I was told specifically that streets don't have a description. They don't have that, and so we would have to work that out. But I don't want to delay Mr. Yoder in his county project since he is doing miles of that road and waiting on the last 1,912 feet. So I told him I would, as mayor, I would greatly support that de-annexation of that section of street.
Chase, how long would this process take?
I'm optimistic we can actually have that to you at the next meeting. Don't hold me to that, but I'm optimistic.
Yeah, I think the big thing is that all parties are equally interested in it. I'm not speaking for you guys right now, that's your vote, but what I'm saying is, I'm okay with it, Mr. McBride's aware and okay, and whatever as we go forward. That would ultimately allow us to move, and I've talked with Mr. Burkdale with Infrastructure Solutions as we do this rehabilitation project. We would be able to then take those resources and reassign them to another section of town. For example, Old Highway 20 or Northeast First, whatever you want to call it, hypothetically from like Cemetery Hill going east, which is right where we're going to be doing when we do Gaither. That would allow them to not have to mobilize, and it's kind of a win-win, but we need to call for a vote on that if you guys have no further discussion.
No, that's for the roadway and the easement to the fences? Or just the road bed?
It is the road bed.
Okay.
So what we were gonna do, the county is gonna do, if we give it to them.
Will that need to be surveyed?
Well, the wording will probably be the easement, otherwise we'll have to have a survey.
Sure.
I mean, that's what Matt and I are talking about. I think we're in agreement, we're just trying to figure out the most efficient way to do it.
Further discussion? No? Call for the vote?
Chitwood,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Gantier,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Lamar,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Malure.
Yes.
Thank you. We'll go ahead and start that process, Mr. All right, Mayor's Report, item A. Discussion and possible action to accept a bid for PRY 2301, 2023, Street Rehabilitation Project Phase 1 rebid from Dunham's Asphalt Service Incorporated in the amount of $449,990 in the best interest of the city. One other bid was received from Glover and Associates Incorporated in the amount of $349,998.66.
Motion.
Have a motion
Second.
from Malore and a second from Chitwood. Do we have discussion? No discussion, let's call for the bid.
Trammell,
Vote.
Yes.
Gantier,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Lamar,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Malure,
Yes.
Chitwood.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Item B, discussion and possible action to go out for bids for the demolition of the 6 North Bailey Street property.
So move.
I have
Second.
a motion from Gantier and a second from Chitwood. Discussion?
I am fully in favor of this, but I don't know, in addition to that, when it's done, I would like to see the city, street department, park department, I don't care who, go in and completely clean that lot up as far as high weeds, vegetation, et cetera.
So my intent on that, Councilman, is that we would respectfully and not trying to push through or be secretive or anything, but that property is adjacent to, I believe, 2 or 3 other lots that the city owns that need that. So I would probably seek the bids to include that cleanup, so that we could clean all of that up in one motion. I would imagine that would save us some money in the long run. So I would ask those bids to include cleaning out the shrubbery, the trees, the
Down to the
fences.
dirt.
Yeah, down to the dirt, and then make it look pretty, so.
Will are there any brush, trees, et cetera, going in that little creek too that needs to be taken out?
You mean
As far as-
to the west and behind that?
Yes.
There's some, it's kind
Or
of
to
a-
the north of it also, and to the west?
yeah, to the point, it's kind of an unkempt area.
Okay.
So we would have to include that in there.
Okay.
Further discussion? Okay, call for the vote.
Gantier,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Lamar,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Malure,
Yes.
Chitwood,
Yes.
Trammell.
Yes.
Okay. Item D, discussion and possible action regarding audit agreement with Hood and Associates for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2023, in the amount of $17,500.
So move.
I have a motion from Gantier,
Second.
second from Chitwood. Discussion? No further discussion, no discussion. Let's call for the vote.
Smith,
Yes.
Lamar,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Malure,
Yes.
Chitwood,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Gantier.
Yes.
Okay. Item E, this one's you. She's patiently waiting back there. Discussion and possible action regarding the promotion of Sarah Brown from Patrolman, Range J, Step 4, to Corporal, Range K, Step 4, effective September 2nd, 2023. This will fill the open corporal position that was created upon the resignation of Jamal Gunder.
So move.
Second.
Jeez. Motion from Lamar, second from Malore. Chief?
Sarah's here tonight. She's been here for a little over 9 years at the police department. She started in communications. She was communications supervisor, went to patrol. She's proven herself. We went through the process with the supervisors with the resignation of Jamal, and she was the one that they decided on, so.
Does everybody know Officer Brown?
I do have a question. This promotion, is this gonna increase the salary?
It's about $1,500 a year total. But with Jamal's falling off, it would basically supplement the place of his, because he was built into this year's salary as well.
Yeah.
And we haven't filled his spot.
I mean, I'm not necessarily against the promotion, it's just I know we were trying to not increase any, I don't know,
We're not hiring
Yeah.
anybody.
yeah.
And per contract, if they're filling in as a supervisor, they get supervisor pay, so it's a contractual thing as well.
Okay, further discussion? Okay, call for the vote.
Lamar,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Malure,
Yes.
Chitwood,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Gantier,
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Okay. Item F, don't go far. Discussion and possible action regarding the purchase of a 2023 Chevy Tahoe Police Pursuit Vehicle 4x4 at the out-of-state contract price of $44,307 from Tim Lally Chevrolet in Warrensville, Ohio. This will be paid out of the Light Board donations account 969655528. Motion? Motion from Choya. Who had the second?
I did.
Second from Malor. Discussion?
Yes. I'm understanding this is coming from a donations account, not from the general fund,
Correct, is that 50,000 that Cherokee Nation gave?
so it won't affect.
Won't affect the general fund at all.
Correct, and the rigging out will come from money that was made off of Purple Wave selling some of the, stuff that we had there at the police department.
Thought they said it was rigged out.
This one, no, it's not rigged out yet. It's a PVV Tahoe, so it's a police package Tahoe, but we'll have to put the equipment on it.
What is your estimation of the cost of, for lack of a better
We're
word,
probably
tripping it out?
$20,000 range, something like that, which we have that money in that same account that we'll be able to use from the Purple Wave, plus we're getting reselling Malibu and several other things to pad that account more. Or we got drug forfeiture account that we could use as well.
So the $50,000 that the Cherokee Nation gave you has been put into this light bar account?
Correct.
What's the total in that account?
I don't have that
I
information. on
think
that.
there was 24,000.
Something like that. It's like 74 total.
Yeah.
Best I can
you're
remember,
right.
like, there was 24,000 in there with the 50, so we're sitting about 74, 75. just
Yeah.
under 70.
Part of that money is the Purple Wave for the surplus that we had, and then the rest of the
And we
50,000.
still have items on Purple Wave that are correct.
Correct, that we haven't sold, we haven't got them on there, they're about to go on.
Two other quick questions. One is, it's in Ohio. How are we gonna get it here and how's that gonna be paid for?
Part of the money, it's built into that, but it's $1,200 shipping fee. They'll ship it down here to us, but it's built into that cost.
Okay. And then the other thing is, do we not have to bid it?
No, it's an out-of-state contract, so it's same as state, except they charge you that $900 fee since it's out-of-state. So you're buying it. And Randy can speak that he can't get Tahoes anywhere, and we found those. I've actually seen Locust Grove get some, and I'm like, where are you getting them at? And he told me this place in Ohio, so that's how we found it. They actually, Michigan State Police is why they have so many. They had this leftover black one.
And yes, they won't even take orders till September, October this year for
Yep.
the 24.
And we did look at all options. Chief Cantrell wanted to do a road trip. I told him that was too expensive. We looked at flying somebody out to drive it back, keeping miles, whatever. We looked at all the options, and it all came up pretty much to nickels and dimes on just getting it here and keeping that 800 miles off the vehicle, so. Okay, further discussion? Then let's call for the vote.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Malure,
Yes.
Chitwood,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Gantier,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Lamar.
Yes.
Okay. Item G, discussion and possible action regarding hiring, say it, Juana Holcroft. I feel like I say that wrong, and I apologize publicly to him, as a reserve police officer for the Pryor Creek Police Department.
Motion.
Motion from Choya,
Second.
second from Chitwood.
So Quana, he was a reserve here for 15 years. He called me the other day. He saw we were short of the ball games and stuff. He said, hey, I want to come back. He left 2 years ago when his dad had cancer, and they were requiring him to have 16 hours. He couldn't meet that due to the fact that his dad was ill. He said, I'm in a place now where I can come back out and help. He's got all of his equipment except his holster. We didn't get a holster, and obviously a vest. It's probably expired by now. I mean, we have it, but I'm sure it's expired. We'd have to look into it, and a uniform. But he's the one who reached out to me. He said, hey, I know we got all these ball games, basketball and stuff. I want to get back into it and help out with the games. So that's where that came from. I think we were looking at workman's comp was what, $25?
Lisa, did,
Something like that.
It's $300 a year for the planning year.
Okay.
1 day or.
So we were trying to look at all the costs that it would cost to have a reserve on, and it's gonna be minimal. And then, like I said, you get free time out of him.
How many will this make you, reserve staff?
Is it 5 or 6? 6. One's a chaplain, so he doesn't really come out. He does our chaplain duties. That's kind of what he fills in, so technically 5.
5
Yep.
including this one?
There's gonna be 6 including this one, but we got one that's a chaplain. He doesn't come out except for chaplain duties mainly.
further discussion? Call for the vote.
Malure,
Yes.
Chitwood,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Gantier,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Lamar,
Yes.
Shropshire.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, item I, discussion and possible action to approve fire department inland marine insurance renewal with McNeil and Company Incorporated in the amount of $6,400 from general insurance. What did I? Will y'all stop it? Okay, let's do H. I crossed it off, I apologize. Let's go ahead and finish I, since I've read that. Fire account 02-201-5044.
Oh, motion.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion from Chitwood, a second from Gantier. Discussion?
Spillman is our reporting system that we use.
Kendrell's not paying attention either.
Sorry.
Good try.
Look, he's excited. He got a reserve officer, a corporal, a car. Wait your turn. We'll come back to you. All right, no further discussion on item I, and we'll call for the vote.
Chitwood,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Gantier,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Lamar,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Malure,
Yes.
Now, I regress. Item H, discussion and possible action regarding an expenditure of the amount $30,742.69 for a maintenance agreement with Motorola Spillman Flex Records Management System to be paid from Police Equipment Capital Outlay Account 44445-5424.
Motion.
Motion from Chitwood.
Second.
Second from Malure. Discussion. This was included in the amount of items moved to capital outlay. This was all figured in that amount, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And that was a couple weeks ago in the budget, so if there's further questions, discussion. If not, we'll call for the vote.
Trammell,
Yes.
Gantier,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Lamar,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Malure,
Yes.
Chitwood,
Yes.
Item J, discussion and possible action to approve fire department insurance renewal with McNeil and Company Incorporated in the amount of $20,188 from general insurance fire account 02-201-5044. Do you have a motion?
Motion.
Motion from Chitwood,
Second.
second from Gantier. Discussion? Call for the vote.
Gantier,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Lamar,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Malure,
Yes.
Chitwood,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Okay. Item 6, city attorney report.
No report.
Thank you. Item 7, committee reports, budget and personnel.
12th, next week on Tuesday.
Okay. B, ordinance and insurance.
I know we have a couple of things to discuss, but I don't think they're both ready yet.
We should be ready for one. I think we should probably take that ordinance to them first. So as soon as he gets done with that, we've got a few things we'll throw it. And we'll just schedule that meeting.
so sometime within the next few weeks.
I would sure hope so, yeah. Item C, street and maintenance,
Yes. Our routine meeting.
routine meeting, okay. Item 8, we have no unforeseeable business. Item 9, do I have a motion? Mr. Lamar, do you have
Well, I've been
unforeseeable
approached
business?
by, Mr. Taylor was here to speak about the Santa Village that got put on the consent agenda that we didn't talk about, but he came over from Tulsa and stayed for the whole meeting, and I think he wants to tell us about his, the Santa project.
Would you like to take a few seconds and tell us about that?
Please.
Everybody got the flyer. So it's a new beast in Pryor with this consent agenda. They may wait it out, and they may not even pull it, believe it or not. That's what happened to you tonight. They didn't pull your items.
But I just want to say thank you again for letting me use the community building to do this. It's really growing. Last year, we had over 800 kids come through. And for y'all that don't know, that weren't here last year, I started this 2 years ago when I was asked to take over the Santa Claus duties in the Christmas parade. It was an idea I had. I've been blessed to go across the state and do Santa Claus all across our state. And I wanted to do this in my hometown. And I get donations from businesses in Mace County. Last year, we gave away over $8,000 in gifts to the kids. And this year is going to be over $10,000 in gifts to the kids we're going to give it.
I have a question,
Yeah.
for general information. What need or needs do you have that you could make this better, just so that we can get it out there?
I need help helping set it up. I'm partnered with the Hearts and Humanities Committee. You know, just not very many people there to help. That's why I need a week to do it. And, you know, of course, with anything you do, it comes down a lot easier and it goes back up. So, setting it up is the main thing. I advertise it really well. One thing I do is I call all the schools. I get how many kids are in pre-K to sixth grade, and that flyer right there, I'll have, last year we had 3,668 postcards made. I delivered them to all the schools, and I handed them out to the kids. Now, when they come through, every once in a while I ask the kid, where you go to school? You know, they say Ada. I said, you get a postcard? Yes. I had kids, Bonita. I had kids from Collinsville, Oologah. I say, how'd you find out about it? And they point to their parents and say, we saw your post on Facebook. So social media has helped a lot. And, you know, it's just something I want to get back to the kids. So I really appreciate it.
I think we need to thank you instead of you thanking us.
Pryor's my hometown, so.
Well, we appreciate you finding him every year and bringing him to all the children in town, right?
That's right.
Let's word this right, people.
No reindeer this year. Reindeer won't be back this year, but they were a huge hit last year. I brought in 2 live reindeer for the kids to see. And that was a big deal. But hopefully next year they'll be back.
And off the record, you did help with a golf tournament, right?
Golf tournament, yes. I helped
Bringing
with
some-
the Main Street Committee golf tournament. I brought in, if some of y'all don't know me, I'm a big sports fan, sports memorabilia collector. I've been collecting baseball cards since I was 9 years old. And I have built a lot of friendships with ball players and stuff. So I brought in
4? 3 or 4?
no, it's more than that. It's like 10. How many teams? They had, say, 17 teams. I brought in 13, I think. I didn't have enough for a whole team. But it's those 4 teams that signed up the last minute, so I wasn't told. But I got guys wanting to come back this year if it's bigger. I've got working with the Hard Rock to have, because some of the guys are coming from Oklahoma City, like Joe Washington, Uwe Von Schauen, Steve Owens, Heisman Trophy winner, stuff like that. And the Hard Rock's going to give us some, with Dennis Bowman, I think his cousin runs the Hard Rock, about getting us some rooms for those guys to stay in. Then they can just come over and play golf.
Well, definitely thank you for what you do for Pryor.
Appreciate it.
Those are the things that make us great.
All right, thanks.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you, Robert.
All right, item 9. Do you have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Motion from Chitwood and a second
From Gantier.
Gantier.
I've got a question.
Call for the, you have a question? Joya?
Listen,
Listen, Joya. We're not done yet. All right, call for the
you're
vote.
right.
Smith,
Yes.
Lamar,
Yes.
Shropshire.
Yes.
Malure,
Yes.
Chitwood,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Gantier.
Yes.
All right, let's call to order the Pryor Public Works Authority. Item 2, approve minutes from the August 15th, 2023 meeting.
Motion.
Have a motion from Chitwood, a second from Gantier. Call for the vote.
Lamar,
Yes.
Shropshire,
Abstain.
Malure,
Yes.
Chitwood,
Yes.
Trammell,
Abstain.
Gantier,
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Item 3, as we have no unforeseeable business, right? Mr. Lamar, you don't have anything, right? Okay, good. Then can I get a motion for adjourn?
Motion.
Motion from Chitwood, second from Gantier. Call for the vote.
Shropshire,
Yes.
Malure,
Yes.
Chitwood,
Yes.
Trammell,
Yes.
Gantier,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Lamar.
Yes.
We are adjourned.